So there's something that I've been hiding from you guys. No Jumper is going broke. I know that might sound crazy. Between both of our YouTube channels last month, we got over 25 million views. We're doing well on Facebook and Snapchat. We employ quite a few of the hottest content creators on the West Coast, and we pump out an insane amount of content on a weekly basis. How could we be going broke? Well, let's start here. We expanded too much during COVID at just about the exact moment that our revenue streams all took a hit. We hired a whole bunch of editors and other employees, and we bought a huge office building that cost us almost $4 million, thinking that the growth that we were experiencing during the pandemic was going to continue. And
I'm not gonna lie, chat. COVID got a lot of content creators fucked up, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I think Let's Keep It a Buck was also a victim of that. Like I'm being so serious, because for people who know how Let's Keep It a Buck blew up, we were killing it during COVID. Like, our shorts boom came during COVID, right? Those months where we were getting 30, 40,000 subs per month, that was during COVID, right? But as time went on and things started to recalibrate to the norm, I think everyone's true numbers started to show, right? So now we're in a place where we got this insane amount of growth. But because things have recalibrated, we've been stuck at 200K for years now. We haven't had as many viral moments as we once did. A part of, like, I don't want to blame this all on the market and the algorithm, because we've definitely fucked up in other regards as well. But yeah, we got spoiled by the growth. I would say this. We got spoiled by the growth in the numbers in 2020 and 2021. And now that we're seeing our numbers, it feels like we're failing as a podcast, at least in some days. Like, it's like, damn, bro, we can't, we're losing subs. We're plateauing. Our numbers aren't growing. Like, what the fuck is going on? But I think in actuality, like, we are just where we're supposed to be. And what we were experiencing in 2020 and 2021, that was an outlier year. Those were outlier years. That wasn't supposed to happen in a timeline where the pandemic didn't happen. And I say that to say, I think when it comes to No Jumper, Adam is literally saying it. They experienced the same thing. You know what I'm saying? 2020, 2021 was a great year for them. They were experiencing crazy numbers, and they thought that this was going to be the norm. This was going to be the norm. So let's expand out. Let's get a studio. Let's increase hiring. Let's increase our expenses based off of these 2 years. And now they have a situation where, hey, man, the studio still costs the same. You know what I'm saying? Employees still want the same amount of money that they've been making. They're not taking a pay cut. You know what I'm saying? I think Adam has had a kid recently too, so now, he's responsible for more things. And essentially, lifestyle creep has kept up. Expenses have moved up, but revenue has not kept up with it. So,
unfortunately, that did not happen. Our YouTube numbers, which had doubled or even tripled, gradually returned to normal. Our Snapchat and Facebook numbers, which had exploded during COVID, sometimes even hitting 6 figures a month, shrank by about 80% or more. Our Patreon, which was absolutely killing it for a year or two when we were doing uncensored, aka nude interviews with up-and-coming superstars like Kazumi and Sky Bree, fell off quite a bit with the launch of Plug Talk and a decreased interest in seeing us interview stars. In addition to that, you might recall that the channel took quite a hit when approximately 8 of our hosts left the platform in March of 2023. Although we've definitely largely recovered and managed to build up a very healthy roster of talent since then, that certainly took a toll on our business for a while as well. All that stuff hurt the business, but we were still solidly profitable. That is, until the last few months, where we experienced 2 major L's that we never could have seen coming. First, we lost the No Jumper Instagram. After almost 10 years of building it up and essentially no strikes on our account, we got taken down one day and we still have absolutely no idea why. We've had no luck getting it back despite being in contact with what seems like every Instagram recovery guy on the face of the planet. We were bringing in a very solid amount of cash monthly that was keeping us afloat via selling sponsored posts on the account. and that mostly vanished overnight. And while we've been growing the new No Jumper LA account up ever since and managing to sell sponsored collab posts using my Instagram and the No Jumper LA account, DM or email if interested, we aren't making anywhere near as much from Instagram now. Side note, if you're a Meta rep, please DM me. I would love to speak to anyone who...
So, from the outside looking into, from what I know of No Jumper, they have done a horrible job of being involved in hip-hop moments. I think they have leaned so much into West Coast, from my understanding, like West Coast gang culture, and like getting all these like D-list rappers on the scene, that like when something big happens within hip-hop, they don't even talk about it anymore. From my understanding, like I don't remember what Adam and them was doing when the Kendrick Drake shit was happening. I don't remember what they've been doing during like the Cardi release where they talking about that. Like for a platform built off of hip hop and rap, like just sticking to that. Y'all have done a horrible job. Horrible job.
Who could help with this. And second, in addition to that, we have been hit with a bullshit lawsuit from a former employee. Now, essentially everything in this lawsuit is completely fictional, and every lawyer that I've spoken to about it has described this as basically an extortion attempt, but it still cost us a ton of money already, and it's expected to cost us many hundreds of thousands of dollars to see this through to completion. It's insane to me that a person that we did so much for can just invent some grievances out of thin air and cost us this much money as a result. This person has literally lost every single friend that he used to have when he worked at No Jumper. His streaming career has completely tanked, and he even got kicked off the podcast that he left No Jumper to start. But somehow, that's our reality, and we have to fight this rather than just give in to this piece of shit. So as a result of all these circumstances, we are making some changes. Over the last few months, we laid off multiple employees in an attempt to reduce our expenses as much as possible. We closed down our store on Melrose, and we're in the early stages of selling our current warehouse and moving into a smaller space. To be honest, aside from the layoffs, which sucked, I'm pretty happy about a lot of these changes. I've realized that I should have paid more attention to DJ Vlad and kept my overhead as low as possible, particularly in terms of staff and location. I'm confident that once we get the building sold, we'll be in a pretty solid financial position again.
So, couple things here. I think ultimately this is just bad content business by Adam. So one, again, y'all shot up y'all expenses way too much. But on top of that, I think this is something that a lot of content creators do way too fast. And people might think at 1 million subs, all right, we got to move different. 2 million subs, we got to move different. One of the beauties about content creation, this is why it's been so profitable, specifically profitable. Maybe not as much revenue generating as other businesses, but profit-wise, this is why it is what it is. You can make so much money with little overhead when it comes to content creation. And that is something that content creators need to take advantage of. Absolutely need to take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? So what a lot of big content creators have found is that once they hire more, it doesn't necessarily mean that they make more money, more revenue, or that the content even gets better because of it. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of things in content, it actually is more beneficial for you to keep your team lean, to keep your team small, because the beauty of content creation is the fact that it isn't corporate and that you can get things done very, very quickly. So when you add, all these different processes to your business, it actually ends up backfiring on you a lot of times. And we're seeing it right now with Adam22. It's backfiring on him as we see. But also, I think this is also a lesson when it comes to brand friendliness. I don't know if that's the right word. I think it's cool. That there are so many different ways to monetize your content, right? You can get a Patreon. You can make money on AdSense. You know what I'm saying? You can get super chats, all these different things. But Adam's business model has relied so much on being edgy, on as being raw and authentic as possible, to the degree that he's literally doing OnlyFans content and porn content, that the main way he makes money now, chat, is via AdSense and is via fan-funded sources of revenue. And fan-funded sources of revenue is cool, right? So we're talking about the Patreons, the Super Chats, all these different things, right? The tips, all these different things. Like, fan-funded revenue is cool, but it's not as sustainable as a lot of people make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? I think the theory is that, okay, if you make fan-funded revenue, it actually is sustainable because you're being paid directly from your audience and it's reoccurring revenue. But the reality is that shit is just as volatile as AdSense. You know, especially if you're not a growing business. And speaking on AdSense, if your business model is relying on AdSense, it becomes this thing where you just become more reliant on viewership and views and, you know, getting the most clippable moments and all that different shit. But I say that to say, I think a lot of this could have been avoided if they were just making brand-friendly content, had a lot of sponsorship dollars come in, and that was the basis of how much revenue you're making and how much money you can spend on your business. Right? Because for those who don't know, when you get a sponsorship bag, that shit is concrete, right? They're going to pay you $1 million for 5 posts, 6 retweets, whatever it is. Like, that shit is concrete. And it's easier to make sure that you got the certain capital that you need to run your business, as opposed to this thing that just fluctuates every single month, because you may have more views this month, you may have more views that month, you may have more donations this month, you may not have more donations this month, right? So I think a lot of this could have been avoided if they just became brand friendly and weren't so fucking edgy. But that's the price you pay when you want to be so edgy and you want to be so, you know, authentically yourself, and you want to lean into the gang banging content, you want to lean into the OnlyFans content, the porn content so much that Nike don't want to work with you. You know what I'm saying? Working with Apple Music, all that shit, that shit's not even in the cards. So you go ahead, keep making your money through YouTube AdSense, keep making your money through your Patreon and your OnlyFans content. And you're really missing out on real big bucks because you want to do porn so bad. Like, it's dumb. It's dumb, bro.
As a business. Oh, and I also just want to note that I am talking about No Jumper as a business. I've got another business in the form of Plug Talk, and I've got a pretty decent investment portfolio on a personal level. I mean, shit, I'm not $2 million in debt, and I never had to file for bankruptcy like T-Rel. But I honestly spend pretty much all of my time trying to create as much content as possible with No Jumper, and I can't really justify doing so unless the fundamentals of the business make sense. It was a big decision to share this stuff with you guys, but at a certain point I realized that I've been honest with the world about just about everything in my life over the years, and it felt wrong to keep all this stuff that we've been dealing with in secret. So I know what you're thinking, what can you do to help? Well, I do have some ideas, which I'll sort into 3 categories here: free, cheap, and generous. Free. Obviously, I'm infinitely thankful to anyone who watches our content at all, follows us on the @NoJumperLA Instagram, and we're just going to be prioritizing a lot of our most requested content and trying to do that live for member advice and opinions on your music submissions, with 1 free submission per month and discounted additional songs. Basically, we're just trying to do as much as possible for anybody who's down to join.
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is all fan-funded revenue. They are desperate. Boy. Yeah, they are extremely desperate. Jesus fuck. That's bad. That's bad. I think that's a tough part about content creation, chat, is as much as we want to avoid it, advertising and brand relations is just a part of the game. It just is, even to the AdSense degree. Like, it's just a part of the game. Like, we will never live in a content world where advertising is just not a part of the game. So when you make yourself an entity that is not ad friendly, you will continue to struggle. You will continue to struggle, especially at the scale that No Jumper is doing things. Yeah, this shit is going to get harder and harder by the day. Unless they do a complete revamp of what No Jumper means, which I think they can.
Adam and Whack.
But will they do it? I don't think so. Didn't he settle a statutory R-word case against a child? Yeah, Adam got a weird case. Okay, let's just say that. Adam got some weird cases. Why is he around? You know, he's not innocent himself. Okay, let's just say that. Okay?